It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show! Hey everybody, it's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name is Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey gang.
And Les Webster.
Hello all.
How are you guys doing?
Okay.
Yeah.
Doing well. And you?
I'm alright, I guess. What's been going on in your corner of the galaxy?
Are you trying to tell me that my okay wasn't believable?
Well, I wasn't sure if you were saying okay that you're doing alright, or if you were saying okay because there was a pause there for a bit. Because it can go either way.
Yeah, it can. Yeah. Hey, now I tried to edit out those pauses. But
so this one you ought to leave in.
Yeah, I'm going to have to now. Now that it's come up. Fourth wall time.
Yep.
It just needed that oomph, Mike.
Yeah, oomph. Oomph. We're big on oomph around here. I'll be honest and also get the boring one out of the way. I don't really have much going on this week. This is one of those weeks where, actually it's about 10 days now, where life has just been kind of biting me in the ass. And I've been either dealing with home life or preparing for stuff to happen in the next couple of days, and it's just, I haven't really done anything fun in a while. Pity me.
But that's all right. Life is good.
That's fine. I'm alive. I'm still on this side of the dirt, so.
Woohoo!
One more week. If that changes
Alrighty.
next week, I'll let you know.
Okay. Appreciate it. How about you, Les?
I kind of laid low this past week, and since the bowl season started, I've tried to watch at least 5 minutes of every game that's been on.
It's a lot.
And that's enough, believe me.
Even at 5 minutes, that's still a lot of football.
Some of the games so far have been good. There have been some horrible plays, one in particular, but it's all right. And then I'm going to a bowl game here coming up very soon, so looking forward to that.
Cool.
How'd yours go, Thomas?
All right, I guess. I'm a couple weeks back on my book, so that's what I've been trying to do, and I've kind of taken a little time out to put a little emphasis on the holiday books, and since it is the holiday season, there was a couple of stories that kind of popped out to me that I kind of want to mention that were really, really good, and try not to show my bias here, but I'm going to. They were both from DC. I have not had a chance to read the Three Stooges, the Stooges special yet. That I will be doing here probably after we get through recording. But the story in the Batman annual with Harley Quinn. Have you had a chance to read that, Les?
DC's holiday book?
No, well, yeah, that too, but I'm talking the Batman annual.
No, I haven't.
Okay. There's several stories in there, and one of them, and forgive me, I don't have it in front of me, so I don't remember who wrote it, but the art's by Neil Adams. And it's kind of handled in style to the story I mentioned in last week's episode, The Silent Night of the Batman, called I believe it's the Not So Silent Night of Harley Quinn. So it's Christmas Eve, and Harley and Batman's caught Harley, and they're driving around, and they're discussing things, and while this is going on, you're seeing random acts kind of being committed, and everything turning out for the good, and a lot of it is hardly related, where, you know, like you got little girls that may be wearing a jacket that's blue and red and that kind of thing. It's a nice little warm story that's really cool and has a great little ending. And then in the holiday special that you mentioned, Les, there is a Batman, Superman, Superboy, Robin story, and it's a really good one because it's both families kind of being together for Christmas, and Damien and John are wanting the same video game system, and I was having flashbacks of was it Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad, where they were wanting the hot toy.
Mm-hmm.
Shades of that, but there's a nice little ending to that one as well, and I'm not going to spoil it. But yeah, there's some nice holiday tales out there this year.
I enjoyed that issue too because the stories were chronological. They started, first one was just before Christmas, and the last one was New Year's.
Yeah, right. New Year's, just the beginning of New Year's Day. Yep.
So
with the Titans. Yep.
Right. It was kind of cool that they wrote it that way and didn't just cram everything and say, let's all do a story with our character meeting Santa Claus, because the age group that reads comics now is much older than when I was 10. And at 10, that's what they would have tossed at you, is Santa or the reindeer in every story that they put in their comic.
But some really nice stories this year. So bravo to everybody who was a part of some of the holiday stories that came out. Bravo, you did a great job in capturing the spirit of the season.
Cool.
Yep. And before we get into this week's topic, let's take a couple of moments to thank our sponsors for supporting us. First off, I want to say thank you to Make Mine Indie, who will have a new catalog coming down on the 21st.
Yes, so by the time anybody hears this, it'll be there. The winter book will be there.
The winter book. Yeah, by the time this drops, the winter catalog will be out, and I believe I caught it saying 120 or 130 pages for this one. If you go to our website, www.thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, and click on the sponsors tab, the first thing you see is an item for Make My Indie, and a link to where you can download a free copy of the winter catalog. And this is a catalog of indie titles that I believe most of, I don't want to put it at 90%, but a good portion of the books are not going to be available through regular distributors, so your local comic shop can have them. The best way is to go through this book and find out websites for these publishers and be able to get them through there or through other sources. A lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool books that you would not be aware of, that we weren't aware of until this came along. There's usually some preview pages, some reviews of the books, so take a few moments and check it out.
It's free, guys, so come on.
Yeah, it's free. I mean, it doesn't hurt to download the book and then take a look at it. And like I said, there's stuff that some good stuff there that you didn't know existed until now. And so we thank them for supporting us. And we also want to thank Things from Another World for supporting us as well. Some of the deals that they have going on right now is free shipping on in-stock orders over $35, and that's good till January 6th. And of course, there are evergreen deals of 40% off sale on comic statues, toys, and merchandise, 30% off select pre-order manga titles, and the ever-popular 50% off Nick and Dick comics and graphic novels. So if you click on the images, they're on our sponsors page. That lets them know that we had sent you that way. And check out some great deals. Really cool stuff, especially this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you guys for supporting the fellowship.
Yeah, thanks.
Alrighty. So this week's topic. With this episode dropping on Christmas Day,
Unless
we
something
thought,
really weird happens.
well, that's a good
I will do.
that's a good.
I will do my best.
Okay.
But if I don't know, there may be complications. Worst case, it will drop the next morning.
Okay.
But
All right. That's fine. Fair enough. Because it is Christmas time.
right.
We figured we would take this episode to kind of talk about our favorite memories, Christmas memories or traditions, or just kind of have a fun little remembrance and kind of enjoy the season. So, who would like to start off? I know Les loves Christmas. We had to talk about this the other day.
Okay, I'll shoot.
Okay.
I grew up in Oklahoma City.
Oh, I'm sorry.
At that time, I had 3 siblings. The 4th one came much later in my life. And I remember things about Christmas: snow on the ground. We would usually have a semi-white Christmas. I say semi because sometimes the snow was melting and you had mud mixed in with the snow, which wasn't the prettiest thing in the world.
Not in Oklahoma, no. That red mud.
Red mud, no.
Flashbacks
But
to The Shining there for a second. Red mud. Red mud. No, wait, that's not right.
It's close enough. I remember on Christmas we would dress for church, and all the kids would be part of the Christmas pageant at the church every year. Before we left, my dad would get his camera out and take a picture of the kids in front of the Christmas tree. That was a tradition. The second part was when we got home, we would change into our pajamas and get our picture taken in front of the Christmas tree. We were people that opened gifts on Christmas Eve, and Christmas Day was the day you opened gifts from Santa. If you could get to sleep after seeing all the stuff you bagged for Christmas Eve. Traditions were great. The idea of having the family together like that. And now my folks are gone, my wife's folks have passed, so we don't get that opportunity. And I regret that I don't have that opportunity now. But it was a mainstay for us. When we sold my parents' house upon my mother's passing, the buyer asked one of my sisters if there was a tradition that we would do, and she gave that as the example, always getting your picture in front of the Christmas tree. And they said, well, we will be assured that we will do that also, which I thought was a real nice gesture.
That is nice.
That is cool.
I have a question.
Sure.
Real tree or fake tree?
Oh, real tree. No, my parents didn't get a fake tree till I was out of college, or I was in college. It was always a tradition that you had the real tree. Go out to the lot and buy a tree, bring it back, leave it on the porch, put it in the stand, let it be there for a while with sugar water, and let the boughs drop a bit before you put any ornaments on it. Yeah, it was a full-fledged family affair for that too.
Yeah, see, when I was a kid, we did real trees a lot. But now, and I lay no blame for this because it's not as important to me as it is to some others. But we have to have a fake tree because my wife is like deathly allergic to trees.
Mm.
And she's actually had, it's funny, her sister, you'd think her sister would know this, um, but her sister has on a couple of occasions in the last few years sent like a like an evergreen bouquet type thing, which within 4 hours, Leslie is like on her back on the
Wow.
couch, full blown allergy fit from this, and you'd think her sister would know, but yeah. So yeah, we have to do fake trees now, and I mean it's still cool. We have a tree, and it's the boy especially loves decorating it. He's always chomping at the bit for me to get it out of the attic because I have a rule, my only rule for Christmas stuff, because I'm not the Christmas guy. They don't. My family doesn't call me Grinch for nothing. Um, but my rule is nothing gets put up before December 1st. After that, they can do whatever they want. They can do as much as they want. I don't care. So I don't even get the stuff out of the attic until December 1st, and they won't go up there, so they have to wait for me. But yeah, so he still loves getting all this. He's all excited about getting this stuff out. He was starting to pester me at Thanksgiving, and I'm like, December 1st, dude. That's how it works.
You know the arrangement.
hmm That's the deal. That's my only rule. I don't hold anything else. I don't restrain you guys in any other way. That's my rule, and it'll come down sometime by the first of the year. But yeah, and they get a big kick out of running around doing putting up all the stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has to be a fake tree.
Mm. I grew up with us having a fake tree. There was a few years where we actually did real trees, and this was, I guess, during my college days. We did it for a while, and then when my dad got ill and all that, and just a lot of that stuff kind of went away, and really hadn't put up trees since then. I mean, we've got uh, I don't know, probably about a 4 foot LED one, and then got it like a ceramic with lights. Mike's seen it because it's the one I used to use at my house.
hmm
You know, we put those up this year. Don't really do decorations like I used to, but I remember as a kid, yeah, it was right around Thanksgiving or so. Dad would go up the attic and pull down the tree, and he would set that up, and then he would put the lights up because he was the only one that, I don't know if he was the only one that would do it, or I don't remember what the deal was, but it was just kind of a no brainer. He put the tree together, and he did the lights, and then I would do everything else. And I remember, I mean, we're talking old Christmas lights, and every year we would have to plug them in and kind of make sure, okay, well that one's working, or maybe a little loose, or that one's dead, and change out and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they didn't have no LEDs back then.
Nope,
These were
nope.
these were the bulbs.
Yep, these were the bulbs with the little crown shield and all that.
hmm
But yeah, it was maybe right around Thanksgiving weekend we would start putting stuff up. I would usually decorate the rest. I didn't decorate the rest of the house, but I would put up the tinsel around the door frames, like into the living room, and maybe the hallway, and that kind of stuff. Don't do that as much as I used to. We would put lights outside as well. I just love it. I mean, it's something about having the lights. And it's funny because I was thinking about this the other day, because they've gone ahead and they've made lights for decoration lights for any holiday now. I mean, obviously Halloween, but there's some for 4th of July, and heck, there's some for like St. Patrick's Day, and I'm going, okay, but it's different for Christmas. It'll always be different. It's just something, and I'm not sure what it is. I was trying to figure out why it seems so different than the rest of the holidays that they do lights for.
Well, I suspect we've just been doing it that way longer. It's what we're used to
Yeah,
as kids, and so
it
we've
could
kind of
be.
carried that
It
with
could.
us.
It could be a nostalgia thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what tradition is for the most part, is a nostalgia
Right.
thing. And
Right.
speaking of which, the funny thing, I hadn't thought about this in years, but you said tinsel, and it
Yep.
reminded me that when I was little, and we quit doing this at some point. I don't even know when or where, but I distinctly remember when I was little, the tinsel thing,
Uh huh.
that was something Santa did. And
Oh,
so
really?
tinsel would not show up on the tree until Christmas morning. And that
Wow.
was how we knew when we came out or whatever. That was how we knew that Santa had been there, was because there was tinsel on the tree. I don't know how common that is. I don't have any idea. And I hadn't thought about it. Like I said, I hadn't thought about that in years. But I, I, for some reason, you said it, and it triggered that in my head.
I've never heard of that before, but that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah,
That is cool.
It's almost kind of like a fairy dust type thing.
yeah,
They just
exactly.
I like that. That is cool.
I suspect
Well,
it
Um.
stopped happening because the tinsel can be a bit of a pain in the ass to clean up. But
Oh God, yes.
can't tell you how many vacuum cleaners we killed with that shit.
not according to my mom. She was in charge of tinsel, and you put tinsel on strand by strand.
Oh,
And
that's time consuming.
as a kid, you want to wad and throw.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's
But
pretty much what I did.
that's the way we took it down too, was by strand, and it was
Wow.
put back in the box and saved for the next year.
Oh wow,
Wow.
there's a clinical
My
term for
my
that.
father would pick up the tree on a Sunday while he would take the kids to church when they would have the practice for the pageant. And that was when he would go get the tree. So it was like 2 weeks before Christmas before we saw a tree.
Wow.
And then put it up and decorate it was usually about 2 3 days later after you let it sit outside for a few.
Yeah, let it cure a little.
Yeah. But my mother was in charge of tinsel, and you better play by her rule or you got the belt. And my parents weren't real strict, but mom held the roost then and said, "This is the way you will do this."
Huh. Cool.
Yeah.
I'll tell you another thing that has been said that caught my ear. Les, you said you had a sibling that was significantly younger than the rest.
Yes.
See, I don't know if that was just a common thing within a certain time frame or what, but there's one of those in my family too. I mean, what's the age difference there? What's how far how late how much later was that last one?
I was 16 when he was born.
And that you were the
And
baby until then?
no, I had a brother that was 2 years younger.
Okay, so a 14
So,
year
so there
gap.
was 14 years difference between the two of them.
See, I was an oops baby too, and there was a 13-year gap for me. I have a sister. My sister is like 14 years older. My brother was 13 years older, and then I was the oops baby. And
Okay.
I've always and what makes this even vaguely noteworthy, because yeah, it's boring, but that's all right. Is that I've tended to have a lot of my friends over the years have had that in their family as well, including my wife, Leslie. She's the fourth of five, and then her brother was born 12 years later. And I believe, Tom, there was a big gap for you as well.
Yeah. It's my sister is 10 years older than me. Yep. Exactly.
And my wife's sister is 6 years younger than her.
So it's happened a little bit more often than we had thought.
It's all over
Yeah.
the place, man. Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
Not that has anything
So
to do with holidays. It just
no, but it
triggered.
was just something that caught your eye and
Yeah.
it caught your ear, not your eye. Wow, that would be painful if it caught your eye.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Mikey, did y'all open presents Christmas Day or Christmas Eve?
Later on, we would get to choose one of what was under the tree. We could choose one on Christmas Eve and open that, and the rest we had to save. Before the Santa thing got thrown out the window, we actually didn't. We had to wait until Christmas morning. But when we got a little older, we whined and complained and cajoled until they caved in and let us open one. And then that ended up kind of sticking. And then later on, when the kids in my generation had grown up, we would do stuff like white elephant gifts and stuff on Christmas Eve, and then we would let the kids do stuff.
Right.
And when they said you could open one, did they point to the packages that you got to open?
It wasn't quite that directed. We did. There was a clearance involved. We had to clear it before we actually started tearing into things. Like, can we open this one? And it would be yay or nay. If it was nay, it was like, no, not that one. Choose do one of the others. Okay, fine. So usually there was only like one or two that were off limits, but it's just because they didn't want us opening the big stuff Christmas Eve and then being disappointed Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And we didn't care. We got to open a present. We were happy.
Right. Growing up, everything was Christmas Day. You know, I got up in the morning and went into the living room to see what Santa brought me, and then a few hours later, the rest of the family would come over because everything was held at my parents' house because we had the bigger house of everybody. So, and we did exchange gifts, and then we would have little snacks. Mom would make snacks and I would help out. So we would kind of do that thing. But as I got older, things kind of changed. You know, it really depended on scheduling and stuff because, I mean, obviously with other things going on, other family members, and you know, that kind of thing. So there may be times where we did something on Christmas Eve and then something else may happen on Christmas Day or that kind of thing. It's just, it kind of changed. But growing up, everything was done Christmas Day. One of the things, I don't remember this when I was really young, but I remember in my late teens and 20s this happening. I used to go to church all the time, and I hadn't in a long time. But one of the things I really loved was Christmas Eve service. And going in and doing a sermon, and I don't know how this is for others because I've gone to a Baptist church, but the whole thing with, at one point, I mean, it was a candlelight service. So basically, for those who are not aware of what happens, is basically at one point the lights are turned off, and you have this one candle representing Jesus Christ, and then basically that candle starts lighting other candles, and it kind of spreads, representing the spread of the gospel. And it's such a cool thing to see. It doesn't matter what you believe in regard to religion, just watching this kind of grow is kind of a cool thing to see. I mean, you could do that just in any kind of a setting or whatever. But it was kind of a neat, kind of give me chills every time I seen it. And I didn't mean to get religious there, but
No, that's okay. Yeah, it is a lovely service to see,
yeah,
to be a part of.
right. And unfortunately, this doesn't happen anymore. I enjoyed it for several years. One of the local radio stations here in the Dallas Fort Worth area, a little pulling back the curtain a little bit. Christmas Eve night, what they would do, and I think I said something to Les about this the other day as well, is what they would do is they preempted, or not preempted, but they had special programming starting, say, 6:30. And from like 6:30 till midnight, and then it starts up again about 1 till 9 o'clock the next morning or so. They played old radio shows that were special Christmas episodes. So you get like the Jack Benny program, or Burns and Allen, or the infamous Dragnet with the missing Jesus doll from the manger, who stole baby Jesus, or some of these other episodes. And what I would do is I would have all the lights turned off except for the Christmas lights on, and I would have the radio going, and I'd just sit there and just kind of take in the lights and take in the radio programs, and it was just such a cool experience to kind of enjoy that. And that's just not done anymore. I guess I need to see if I can find those programs and just start that up again, because I really miss that.
Yeah, I bet you can find recordings of those.
Yeah, I know, and I'm sure XM radio or or Sirius or something like that has something of just. I know they do like the old time stuff, but I don't know if they do special programs for Christmas Eve. But
Well, and they probably also have like a Christmas music station too, all the satellite ones.
Well, that's true.
And honestly, here in the DFW area, we've got K-Love, which by now is probably 100% Christmas music.
Oh, I think
they start ramping up at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I think it started before Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's just they'll just throw one out there every so often. Yeah, I want to say I heard one like the Wednesday before Thanksgiving on K-Love accidentally. And then so the frequency will increase, and by now or so, in the next day or two, if not now, it's 100% Christmas music.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure every metropolitan area has one of those. And if not, like I said, I'm sure satellite is doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Sirius has 3, maybe 4 stations right now that carry Christmas music of all sorts. You have the classics, you have the newer versions, and I know that you have country and western. I don't know if there's anything other than that, but they are available right now.
Like a death metal Christmas
thing.
Woohoo!
Trans-Siberian, there you go.
I don't think that's quite death metal, dude.
No.
And I haven't seen a Bob Rivers either, so.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Well, let me ask you this question, Mike, because Les posed it to me a few days back. What Christmas song, and granted, we know you're not a Christmas person, kind of gets you, what kind of gets you in the Christmas mood, if there is one?
All right. See, this gets fun, because the traditional Christmas songs are one of the things that I have difficulty with. I just don't like them. It's just overexposure, and I just don't. But that said, there are actually some more classical type things that come up at Christmas, like the Nutcracker Suite and all of that stuff. That stuff is that's as close as I'm going to get to using music to get into the Christmas sort of spirit mood type thing.
Okay.
What about you, Thomas?
Well, I think the song I said, and I still go with it, is Jingle Bell Rock. Yeah, I like the classics. It was funny, just the other day I saw some discussion on one of the Facebook pages. Actually, it was on Bill Champlin's Facebook page. His version of Child of This, which is on one of the Chicago Christmas albums, is awesome. Probably one of the best versions I've ever heard. But Jingle Bell Rock, I don't particularly care which version, although I would definitely go with the Hall Notes version because that's the one that I heard first. It's just, it's a nice little rock song, but, with Christmas thrown into it. So it's just just a nice little tune.
Hmm. I will
What about
also
you?
admit,
Oh,
sorry, I was going to
okay.
jump back. I will also admit to owning Jimmy Buffett's Christmas album, and that will start getting played at our house soon, I'm sure, once somebody remembers that we have it.
Yeah, that'll be playing at our house too very soon.
I haven't gone out of my way to do Christmas music just yet. Um,
Oh yeah, like I hold out as long as I can on it
well, yeah,
personally,
well, I
but
understand. I
that's
understand
because
you
I'm
do
me.
that.
But yeah,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
we have some.
It was funny at the store yesterday, and another reveal for those who have not listened to our previous episodes. First of all, you need to go back and listen to our other episodes, please. Um, I do work at but I do work at a comic store, and yesterday I went in and I turned on the TV, and I was like, okay, what can I get on the TV? So I started going through Netflix, and what I decided to do was it was a 2 hour thing, but it was the infamous log fire video with several different Christmas songs being played, and I just put that on a rotation for the entire shift. So I just had it going and just kind of get in the mood for not only for me but for whoever came in because it was that time of year.
The fun part of that image is you have to keep in mind where the TV is in this shop. It
Yeah,
is
that's
it is
true.
suspended from the ceiling,
Yeah.
so the idea of there being a fire on the ceiling is its
What
own
was
particular image. But yeah.
what was really funny is I had a family come in and I asked them if there was anything I could do for them, and the wife said, uh, uh a hot fire and hot cocoa. I said, well, we got fire on the TV. I can't do anything about the cocoa.
Yeah. Also, the yesterday he's talking about, it was really friggin' cold.
It was really cold. And once again, we are in the DFW area, and what the coldest in 2 years. I know people to the north go that's nothing compared to what we deal with, but hey,
They were saying this morning's low was the coldest temperature we've had in this area in 6 years.
oh okay,
It's yeah.
yeah,
Yesterday was the coldest day in 2 years, and then this morning was the coldest
in
temperature
six,
in since 2010 or whatever 6 years ago
yeah,
would be.
yeah, wow.
It's a little late for me to do math, but anyway.
So
But yeah, I saw that. I was flipping around Netflix the other night, and I saw that the log fire thing. I didn't turn it on, but I did
no,
see it.
well I can
It's,
understand
it's
that.
cool. I think it's cool that they do that. It's kind of a neat thing.
Well, I saw a posting earlier this evening on Facebook. I think I knew about this because I was not completely surprised that apparently there is a YouTube video of a 5 hour run, but instead of it being a log fire, it is the Darth Vader pyre. So you're seeing Darth Vader on fire. I'm assuming there's Christmas music to it, and I'm like, okay, well that's cool.
That is cool,
So
especially if it's Christmas
That's
music.
different.
I like that.
so I may have to check that out. Don't know if I want to sit for it all 5 hours,
No,
but
no.
just check it out and see something about it. So that's yeah. So Les, what's your song?
My song appeared when I was a kid, and it's always stuck with me, and that is the Chipmunk song. It was their first song, and it just struck. It's still one of those that I have to find, I have to listen to it, and then I'm in the Christmas spirit. I'm ready for the whole gift giving and shopping and everything and anything else. So I'm going to have to find it on YouTube or something this year. I can't find my recording of it, so we're going to see how that goes.
You mean it's not Grandma got run over by a ranger?
No, that was much later. That's after I was in college. So no, that does not have the appeal.
Okay.
That one
Let
was
me
actually
ask you
kind
this,
of
guys.
big at our house.
I'm sorry?
That one was kind of big at our house, but that's because it kind of came in at just the right time for some of the kids that were I'm kind of between generations, so it's weird. I'm kind of older than the kids and then younger than the grown-ups. And so that struck a chord with the kids. I don't know. I was probably 13 or 14 at the time. Not that was when it came out, but I don't remember exactly when it came out. But
Right.
that was when it came into our house, and it struck a chord for sure. Which tells you something about my house at that time. But anyway.
Well, my parents loved to listen to it. And I tell you the truth, I kind of lowered my head and shrugged. I just couldn't understand why they thought that was so great. But after 3 listenings, I was done.
Yeah.
And then they make it into a cartoon, and I said, no, please.
Well, because they were banking on the popularity, and it took you 3 times to get tired of it. Wow, I'm impressed.
Over about 2 years, yeah.
You only heard that 3 times in 2 years? Jeez.
I avoided it at all costs. Did you guys go look at lights in the neighborhoods?
Not yet.
My dad would. I'm sorry?
Oh, I was thinking, you said that, and I'm thinking this year. I'm like, oh, no, we haven't.
No, as when you were younger.
We did some. I mean, it wasn't necessarily every year, and I don't. It wasn't. I don't want to say it wasn't as big a deal because it really probably kind of was, but it has certainly gotten more. I don't want to say commercialized, but lights. Having a bunch of lights on your house is more of a thing now than it was back then. Back then, it was you drive around the neighborhoods, and I mean, and honestly, not to get too um, socioeconomic on this, you would drive around better neighborhoods than we lived in, and some of the houses, you would have 3 or 4 houses on a block that would have like a nice setup of lights, and I mean that was it. Whereas later on, like more recently in the last, I don't know, I'll say 20 years, it's more of a production now.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, by far.
Yeah, I mean, and
It,
the other fun thing, and I'll sidetrack just a bit and we can jump back, but there's the TV shows where they do the Christmas light contests and stuff.
right.
Oh man, I mean, because I mean I don't have cable anymore, but when we did, we'd stop on that because they'll show that for 12 straight hours this time of year, and just watch that for a little while until you get tired of it and then walk away. But yeah, those are kind of cool too, in moderation, of course.
They're cool, but it's almost like, well, I want to outdo my neighbor, and I just,
Oh, entirely. That's exactly what it is.
yeah. And how would you like to live in that neighborhood where that's going on? Um,
I think the rolling
I don't.
brownouts would get old after a while for sure, but you know.
Well, that's true, but I mean, just the traffic.
Hmm.
Uh, I remember when I was young, there was a cul-de-sac that was closer to downtown Garland,
Hmm.
and you may be familiar. You may remember this, Mike.
Hmm. I do.
Yeah, that every year, every house had lights up, and oh my God, the traffic to go down that cul-de-sac and take a look at the lights.
Yeah, and it was
Uh,
fairly near what was a pretty busy, large intersection, too. And
right.
so it would screw up traffic in every direction from there.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, big time. And it got worse every year. I don't even know if they still do it anymore, do they?
There's not much, but I think a lot of the houses have changed owners since we're talking quite a few years there. So
A lot of years.
Well, there's a subdivision south of us that does theme uh, lighting for each street in cul-de-sac. I remember one vividly that when you turned into the cul-de-sac, there was a sign out front to turn your radio to a certain station, certain setting. And as you drove through, they were broadcasting How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And as you look to your right, they start with the story itself. Now, when you turn your radio on, you may be in the middle of the story, but the point is that the first house starts with the beginning of the story, and by the time you get through the cul-de-sac and going back out, they have finished the story. And it would get very crowded there when people would creep along so they could hear everything for this half-hour drive or 20-minute drive just down a cul-de-sac and back.
wow.
Yep.
I have not been over that direction yet, but I'm expecting that they will be active.
That's dedication right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of
Well,
thing you need to know about when you're buying a house in that neighborhood too. I mean, that's not something you want to get surprised with 6 months down the road.
no,
Yeah,
no.
your page is 24 and 25 of this story. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah, especially you don't want to yell bah humbug, otherwise they'll have to tell you to move to another cul-de-sac.
No, A Christmas Carol is 3 streets down, dude.
Well, I mean, how would you like to buy a house in a neighborhood and then you get to close to Christmas time and your next door neighbor has all these lights and then every 30 minutes or so, the theme of Star Wars starts up and you get this light production going on. I mean, now I love John Williams music. Everybody knows I'm a Star Wars fan, but I don't know if I want that going on from say 7 o'clock till midnight every night through the Christmas season. That could get a little old.
It does seem like a bit much.
As cool as it looks like to watch on YouTube, I would not want to live next to it.
Especially when I didn't put up any lights.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I've seen, I've posted this on Facebook a couple of times over recent years, and it's so great. The image of someone doing it's a little yard design, and it's makes it look like the Grinch is stealing the Christmas lights off the house. It's
That's cool.
it fits the season perfectly, but you really didn't do anything. You just set up the Grinch yard figure, and then a little bit of the Christmas lights that leads up to the little part of that that's actually on the house, and you go, there you go. That's my Christmas decoration for the year.
Got
There's nothing
my
else.
vote.
There's nothing else because he's taking everything.
Yeah, I'm down.
That's
Down
perfect.
with that. I'm down with
That's,
that.
that is perfect.
Well, you're sure that that's coming down at the end of the year, so you're safe.
That's true.
You're not going to be one of those that's just going to leave them up all year round and plug them in when it comes Christmas the following year.
See, and nowadays they have these laser light things that you can just stick this thing in your front yard and aim it at the front of your house, and it will quote unquote project Christmas lights onto your house.
Yeah, I've seen the commercials for those things, and I don't know about those things.
The ones I've seen don't really look all that great. I mean, I guess it's cool to have lights dancing around on your house. That's fine, but let's not try to pass them off as Christmas lights.
Right.
This is a little much.
Some of the best Christmas lights I'd seen was on a visit to Gina's folks. In Louisiana, they use paper bags. They take paper bags, put sand in the bottom of them, and then put a candle in there, light the candle. The sand acts as a catcher for the wax, so the sap is not going to catch fire even in pretty stiff winds. But it was real interesting because they would line a sidewalk with these and light them up as a little way from the street to the door. It's very cool to see.
It does sound like it.
Yeah, especially with real candles.
Yep.
Yes.
You get the cool flickering effect going.
Was there like a Christmas special that you always sat down to watch every year, or was that something that you even got into, or what?
Yes. Yeah. I think the one that I remember most was the year that visiting my in-laws, and it was the Star Wars special, and the reaction of my in-laws going, "What the hell is going on?" And I think that was the one where they had a real speedster in the show. Correct me if I'm wrong. But my father-in-law looked at what was watching it, and they turned to us, looked just straight-faced, and said, "That boy is fast." And it was everything I could do to keep from howling in laughter.
In fairness, there are Star Wars fans that still watch that and go, "What is that?" So,
Yeah.
the infamous holiday special, which I vaguely remember watching as a kid because I was so excited, like, "Oh my God, we got Star Wars on TV." But I have yet to go back and watch it because I know just everybody says it is the worst thing. I mean, Lucas has even disavowed it, and obviously, at some point, it's gonna be on DVD now that Disney owns it. But you just kind of wonder.
You say
But
that. I don't know.
we'll see. But yeah, I'm gonna have to sometime sit and watch it. I just remember bits and pieces of it. Of course, it always pops up. The stuff of it pops up everywhere. I mean, the fact that Jefferson Starship was in it, and Art Carney, and D. Arthur, and all that. I've always looked forward to seeing the Charlie Brown Christmas, which I hadn't watched in a couple of years, and some of the Ras Bankin specials, like
Rankin and Bass.
Rankin and Bass. I'm sorry, I got it backwards. Pleasant Night Before Christmas, and some of those. And it was funny because there's a network that used to show them all the time.
I think
I don't know.
CBS still does. Shows some of them anyway. I think we spotted Frosty the Snowman the other day.
Yeah,
On,
but well, I was the one I was yeah they'll show some of those. But what I was thinking about was what used to be ABC Family, and now it's like Freeform, which I still don't understand where that name came from. But the thing that kind of they would do, they would show like "Twas the Night Before Christmas," and then like "A Year Without Santa Claus," and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, they'd like marathon them.
They marathon them, but the thing is they're so heavily edited for the commercial breaks that there's stuff that I'm going. There's scenes there that they're they're not there anymore. So it's kind of sad to see it. It's like, why are you even showing them then if you're cutting stuff out?
I understand that.
It's kind of sad.
Because people will watch them anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I still watched it because obviously I'm sitting there going, we're missing a scene there, or there was there was an obvious cut there. You could tell that I mean, I mean, it was just a butcher job of a hack.
Which is funny because I find it amusing to watch like R-rated movies that I'm familiar with and do the same
Yeah.
thing. But
Uh-huh.
that's an R-rated movie. You expect them to change the cuss words, and you expect
Right.
them to leave out scenes where there's a lot of cussing going on. But Frosty the Snowman, come on now.
Well, I don't think it was edited for content. I
No, it
think it was
wasn't.
just it was cut. It's cut for time because they need to squeeze more ads.
Right, because
Ad,
when that show came out, they would run 8 minutes of ads an hour, and now it's 16.
Yeah.
And so you got to cut somewhere,
Yeah.
as you certainly don't want to run over. That would just be freaking terrible right there.
Yeah. I'm sure somebody has them on DVD, and maybe one if they are, then I need to hunt them down.
Oh, they are.
And
We have
just,
some. We have a few. We
yeah.
have like I don't know, a couple of. There's a couple of collections that have like a couple each.
Okay.
It's like a 2 DVD set, and each of the DVDs has a couple of them. So we've got like Frosty the Snowman and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and whatever the one with the
Yeah.
Island of Misfit Toys. I forget which one that is.
Right.
But that one. And yeah, so because they had them. My kid was watching some the other day.
Before Christmas, CBS would show, on a Sunday afternoon, would show The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
And it always made me mad because this was when we would be at church for rehearsal for the Christmas pageant. And I would always miss the ending of the movie. We would get to see about 30 minutes, then it was off to the pageant.
Off to see the wizard.
Exactly.
Or
Now,
more specifically, off to not see the wizard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have a close friend who would always put a movie on Christmas Eve when he would be putting toys together to put under the tree. He would always watch Stalag 17, which has a Christmas scene in it. So he considered it viable for a Christmas movie. And I've even sat there with him putting toys together and watched Stalag 17. That was his big thing. Is there anything like that you guys remember? Is there a certain movie you watch? We discussed some of the movies, but is there one that you really need to watch?
I don't know about need to. I remember we used to watch Wizard of Oz as well. That came on a lot. I don't know that there's one that I need to watch. Then again, bah humbug.
Yeah. There's one I always like to watch if I can find it. I don't think I have it on DVD, but if it's on, I always stop down to watch it if I can. And it is the 1952, I think, or 51 version of A Christmas Carol, starring Alistair Sim, which has a bit part by Patrick McNee.
Yes.
Cool.
That's one of my favorite versions of. That's one of my favorite movie versions of that story. It's just something about the way Alistair Sim portrayed Scrooge. And there's been a lot of good actors that have done the role. I mean, Patrick Stewart did an awesome job. Albert Finney kind of did an interesting version of it. Just right off the top of my head, didn't George C. Scott do a version?
Yes.
Sounds familiar, yeah.
Well, Michael Caine with the Muppets.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I mean, there's been some really great actors that have done that role. That's just something about that particular version with that cast, especially with Alistair Sim, that I don't know. It's just something that if it's on, I got to watch it.
One that you won't find on TV anywhere in this kind. Well, I say that. I suppose PBS might show it at some point. Are you familiar with a British comedy from back in the late 80s, I think, maybe early 90s, called Blackadder?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Have you seen the Blackadder Christmas Carol?
Yes.
Yes.
That shit's hilarious
Mm-hmm.
because if you are not familiar with Blackadder, you will almost certainly know who Mr. Bean is. Well, before he did Mr. Bean, Rowan Atkinson did a little show called Blackadder, and it is definitely not to be missed. But for the Christmas episode that they decided to do one year, they told the Christmas Carol story with the Blackadder role in the Scrooge role, except they reversed it so that the Blackadder in that story, this was Victorian times, was this really nice guy and basically gave away everything to everybody. And over the course of being visited by the the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future, decided, screw that, I prefer being evil.
Which kind of brings you up to date on his character for the regular series.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Blackadder is across time, across British history, not a particularly nice guy.
No.
Hilarious, but not particularly nice. Yeah, there were 4 series of that, of Blackadder, if you're not familiar with it. The first one is set just after Richard III. The second one is in Good Queen Bess's reign. The third one was, I want to say George III, but I could be a little bit off, somewhere in that time frame. And the fourth one is World War One. And it's,
Yep.
like I said, it's like six issues. Listen to me, 6 episodes per season, and yeah, hilarious stuff. One of my favorites. But yeah, and then there's the Christmas one, which is interesting, if for no other reason than just to see Tony Robinson in a loincloth. But anyway.
And wasn't Hugh Laurie in it as well?
Yes. Hugh Laurie, Stephen Fry,
Miranda Richardson.
I was like, Richardson. Couldn't remember her first name. Yes, Miranda Richardson. Rick Mayall did several cameos. And various other people who were popular in the British comedy scene in that time. Like I said, I think the first one was like 86 or so, and then by the time the fourth one came around, it was like 93.
Right.
British TV doesn't work on a strictly annual schedule, so they take breaks and stuff. And if you're interested in British TV at all, you will also know that one of the producers of the Blackadder series later on went on to do QI, which has been going in England for like 14 seasons now. It's a sort of a random trivia game show type setup. It's pretty fun, which Stephen Fry hosted up until last year. You can plunk a few of those down on YouTube if you're interested. But they're pretty funny too.
Yep.
But we got off of Christmas there.
Okay. No. Well,
okay,
no.
I got off of Christmas there.
Not a big deal.
That's on me. Leave it to me to tangent away from Christmas.
Okay. I talked about A Christmas Carol and about back when I was younger. Now, I got to stop down and do A Christmas Story every year now. I don't know if I do the entire marathon, but I got to do at least one complete viewing. That I believe now TNT and TBS do it. Am I not mistaken? Do both networks do it?
Oh, probably.
Is the marathon starting about 6:30 Central Time and go to about 6:30 on Christmas Eve and go to about 6:30 Christmas night.
That sounds about right.
I think it's on both networks now. It used to be just TBS, if I'm not mistaken. But I think both of them do it now. And yeah, I got to stop down at one point to watch it. But there may be times if I'm so inclined and I'm just flipping around channels and I come by it, I may stop down for a little bit, another 20 or 30 minutes or so here and there.
I think I can honestly say that I've never watched that movie all the way through.
Really,
I had seen bits and pieces, but
just not something to interest you?
yeah, not really.
Okay.
Not sure why, really. Just never have.
It's a funny movie.
It's very nostalgic, and thanks for bringing that up because that means I will need to get the leg lamp out for decoration here in a couple of days.
Well, be careful because it's fragile.
That's right, it's Italian.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Darren McGavin. He played that part so well.
Yes, yes, he did.
And I'm sure he had a blast doing it too.
I think so. And it was written by Gene Shepard, who I think we may have even mentioned, I may have mentioned on a previous broadcast that it's he's one of the funniest writers I'd ever seen or ever read.
If I'm not mistaken, the name of the book was "In God We Trust, Others Pay Cash" or something like
All,
that.
yeah, all others pay cash.
Yeah.
It was a fascinating story, and to me, it was a funny movie too.
Hmm.
They didn't quite pull off the sequel as well, but it was fun.
Wait. There was a sequel?
Yes, to the characters, not to Christmas, but to the characters.
Okay. All right. And of course,
And
this movie was directed by Bob Clark of Black Christmas and the Porky's film uh, fame.
yes,
So he kind of got away from Christmas to do Porky's, but still did it as comedic. So.
yes. Another movie is Miracle on 34th Street,
Yeah,
the original.
yeah, that one I've seen.
Yeah, with
Uh,
Natalie
Natalie Wood
Natalie Wood as the kid.
and Edmund Gwenn as Santa.
Hmm.
That's one that I stop down and watch. It doesn't matter where it is in the movie, gotta stop and watch.
This reminds me, mainly because it's reminding me of last week's episode.
Hmm.
Um, I believe I heard that I think it's Saturday night. I think it's NBC, maybe,
Okay.
um, is showing It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay.
And so I believe you
Yes, it
said
is.
you haven't seen it, Tom. So here's your
Y-
chance.
Yeah. Okay. I'm checking it out right now.
DVR it or something.
Yeah, I'm going to. And it's funny because I just tweeted this as we were recording this. We were talking about Christmas, but I have the TV on Sundance Channel, and they're showing the original Halloween.
Nice.
So I am watching Halloween as we're talking Christmas.
Now that's my idea of a Christmas movie right there.
So cool. This has been kind of fun to talk about. Any final recollections or anything else before we wrap things up and move on?
I'm not. This is totally not really Christmas related, but it was something that my family did several years back on New Year's Day. We kind of got together and huddled over at one of the houses, and we at like 9 o'clock in the morning. And
Okay.
this was I want to say this was 2003. It may have been 2004. But what we did was we marathon watched all of the Lord of the Rings movies.
Okay.
All three of them at
I've
the time. But yeah, it's like
I've
12
heard
hours worth of movies because we had extended editions for most of them.
right. I've heard of people doing that. I've heard people doing Star Wars marathons.
Yeah, we did a Star Wars one too, like a year or two later. I don't remember how many of the movies we got through. I don't think we got through all six. This was like right after. Like I said, this was the mid 2000s, so however many of those movies. I want to say three had just come out or was about to come out. Maybe we just watched five of them because three hadn't come out yet. But yeah, it's a long damn day.
Yep.
Watching 12 hours of pretty much anything is a long damn day.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun, but it was a New Year's thing, so that's why it made me think of it.
Okay. Cool.
There's a couple of things.
Okay.
As a kid, when it would snow, and you got a sizable amount, we would go out and make snow furniture. Chairs you could sit in, or a lounge, or a table. Yeah, of course, you put the table close enough where you could put your feet up on it. So
Well, of course.
it was, yeah, that was fun for us. And then on the radio today, one of the DJs on Sirius, I was listening to the 60s channel. He was telling a woman about taking hot water, a bowl of hot water outside, and tossing it in the air, and it would come down as snow.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly it was cold enough for this to happen. Let's just say that there were a lot of bleeps in her response after she went outside and tossed this hot water up in the air.
Wow.
You gotta stand upwind.
He was just telling her, throw it up over your head and it'll snow on you. And I'm going, I'm not that stupid.
So then she called him back and cussed him out.
Oh, no, she had him live the whole time.
Okay.
And she was not happy. And all he could say was, well, I'm sorry about that, but we'll see if we can find someplace else that's colder here in the U.S. that people can try. I thought, no, I'm not sticking around for this.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
People are great.
Cool. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay.
Nothing here.
Alrighty. I enjoyed this. I kind of enjoyed going back down memory lane and discussing some of this stuff. Would that be our question of the week? Something, just a Christmas memory or a Christmas tradition that, or something that y'all did, something that someone that our audience does to celebrate Christmas? We want to do that?
Sure.
Okay. Sure. All right. There's your assignment, America.
Mm-hmm. And the world.
And the world. Okay. I don't want to leave anybody out.
Absolutely.
So. Alrighty. So when we come back, it'll be time for our weekly picks. And we're back. It is time for weekly picks, and leading off is Les.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to begin with a reissue of the Classics Illustrated The Time Machine. This is the comic based on the H.G. Wells novel, and the artwork is by Lou Cameron. I chose this one because this was probably the first Classics Illustrated I ever picked up and read. And I was so fascinated by this concept of a novel being depicted in comic form that I got hooked on both Classics Illustrated and H.G. Wells. I'm sure that it's of the same quality as what I read. Well, it's a reprint, of course, but they do have some essays and such also for provoking thought. And I loved this so much the first time. I think I'm on board to get this issue also.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's cool. Read some Wells too, so.
Mm-hmm. Nice to see Classic Illustrated's still around.
Absolutely.
So. Alrighty, Mikey.
All right. My first pick is an Action Lab book. It is called Tomboy, and I think I've talked about this one before, but this is issue number 9. So it's actually been off for a while. They've taken some time off, and so it looks like they're coming back. The writer is Mia Goodwin, the artist by Michelle Long, and this is like I said, I've talked about it before, but this is the story of Addison, who is a teenage girl who, when her best friend is killed, she discovers that she has this interesting magical power that she didn't know she had, and it has inherited it kind of from her grandfather, and so there's a very interesting mentor dynamic going on there, and basically she's this. They constantly make reference to magical girl type comics, and so she's like this monster killer thing, and it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool story, and the art is beautiful. So definitely take a look at that.
Yeah, very cool. It seems like it's been. It seemed like it's been a while since the last issue.
Yeah, I'm not sure, and I think this one might even be a little late, but I don't know. But yeah, it's been a while. It's been several months.
Yeah. Cool. My first pick is from DC Comics, and so maybe a little unusual for me, but it did catch my eye. It's from Scooby Doo Team Up number 21, written by Shelley Fish and with art by Dario Brizuela. I'm sure I butchered that, and I apologize. In this issue, the Scooby Gang team up with Harley Quinn. Apparently, she has had a fallout with Mr. J, so she's trying to run away and offers to join up with Mystery Inc. as they're trying to investigate a seasonal ghost, if we should say. It looks like it ought to be a little fun read. I've honestly, I have not checked out the book before. I've seen some of the team ups, and it kind of reminds me of the old cartoon, the Scooby movies, where every episode they had a guest star, which I'm sure would be fun for to watch now with a younger audience, and just see these large question marks just form over their head because they don't know who these people are. You know, would they know Sonny and Cher? I mean, would they Mama Cass? Yeah.
Oh, no, not. There's no way. There's no
Yeah.
way.
Don Knotts, Don Knotts, they might know, maybe depending on if they've watched any like Andy Griffith or something like that. But just some of the guest stars and guest voices they had, it would be
Straight out of the 70s is what it was.
yeah, pretty much. So this ought to be a fun book.
Mm-hmm. Could be interesting.
Yep.
Especially if you're a Harley fan.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, thank you. I think I may even step that direction forward.
Cool. Les, you're up again.
From Albatross Funny Books, comes Spookhouse #3, written by Eric Powell, art by Steve Mannion and Stephanie Gladden. This, again, is spooky fun for kids and adults. There is no write-up as to what is included in this, but I've read chapters or books 1 and 2, and they do have some funny stories that do have a twist, and it is all ages. They even have fake ads in the books, so you go, okay, and you'd love to start counting your money out to buy what they have in their ads. So I've got a feeling this is going to be on the level as issues 1 and 2, and that is just funny stuff.
Cool. Speaking of Scooby Doo type stuff.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Cool. Mikey.
Alrighty. My other pick is a Dark Horse book, and I'm pretty sure I've talked about this one before too, but Witchfinder, City of the Dead, #5 comes out this week, and this is the last issue of this arc. This is written by Mike Mignola and drawn by Ben Stenbeck, and this particular issue will bring us the final showdown between Sir Edward Grey and the vampire he's been chasing in this arc. So, Victorian era monster hunting, chasing down vampires in the London Underground. I'm in. Thought about you guys.
Oh yeah.
Most interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, I like the Witchfinder series. I like a lot of what Mignola does, but I like this. This is one of my favorites.
Right. Yeah, it's a pretty cool book. My last pick is from Marvel. It is a collection. It's Nighthawk. Hate Makes Hate, and this is collecting the entire the 6-issue run of Nighthawk that was written by David Walker with art by Martin Morazzo and Ramon Villalobos. This is a version of Nighthawk that was seen in the most recent Squadron Supreme, or I guess it's still going, Squadron Supreme series. He is operating in Chicago, and he's having to deal not only with corrupt police officers, but also white supremacists. And if you know anything about this particular version of Nighthawk, he is a black man. So it was a really, really interesting read, because I was getting the books as I was getting the series that was coming out, and it's not easily one. It's timely because of what's been going on in our society. So I tried to recommend this series as much as I could, but I know some people were kind of turned that. It's definitely one of the better Marvel books in my opinion, and I just wish it had a little bit more support than it did. But we'll see what happens. I mean, with this collection, who knows? If it does well enough, maybe it will come back.
Can only hope.
Yep. And David Walker was also the writer on the Shaft series for Dynamite, and he was the writer on Cyborg. So if you were reading those books, and I'm not talking about the current series. I'm not talking about Cyborg, the Rebirth series. I'm talking about the previous series. So if you enjoyed either one of those particular books, just off the top of my head, I would recommend you checking out this collection as well.
Nice.
Very good.
Yep. Cool. Alrighty. Any special mentions this week?
Oh lordy, there's so much stuff coming out this week.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Horse alone is putting out all of their books that I like, just about.
I would like to point out a collection from one of the publishers. They're bringing out Pogo, the complete syndicated strips, hardcover box set of volumes 3 and 4. This includes the 1955 and 56 daily strips and the 104 Sunday color strips. In the previous podcast we had, I made mention of Pogo, and now I'm jazzed. I'm thinking about taking out a loan on the house and buying this.
Can you get a fourth mortgage? Is that even a thing?
Is it possible? I don't know if Harp will take it or not.
Nice.
Oh, you know what is coming out this week too?
What?
I hate to use the word reboot because I'm willing to bet they wouldn't like it, but Zenescope's new Grim Fairy Tales series starts this week.
Yep, that's true.
And doesn't it kind of pick up where the last one left?
It does, but it's doing so since Sela died at the end. Oh boy, spoiler, huh? For GFT 125. It's picking up with her daughter, kind of in that position of being kind of in essence, the Superman of the Zenescope universe. She's kind of, Sela was the one who was kind of the superhero she was kind of the superhero of the group. I mean, there was a bunch of superpowered people around, but she was kind of the one that was, I mean, I hesitate to say leader, but at least kind of the role model. And so her daughter's going to have to take over. So be interesting to see how that works.
Yep.
So this will be a good jumping on point.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yep.
It's like a number one and everything.
Yeah. So it's one of those great jumping on points for new readers, but it doesn't alienate the hardcore fans from the previous run, which that's easier said than done sometimes. So
it's hard to avoid sometimes.
Yeah. So cool. Yeah. Alrighty. It's been another good month of reads, and we only scratched the surface.
Usually.
So. Yeah. Usually. I mean, we only limit ourselves to 2 or 3. I mean, we could definitely go a little bit further than that, but still. All right. Any special shout-outs?
No. Don't think so.
Okay. Well, let's do our usual ones. First of all, shout out to Manny the Martyr for our awesome music for our credits. And should I even say what's going on with the guys, Les?
Sure.
Okay.
Dare.
Okay. Unfortunately, the group is breaking up.
Oh, no.
It's not due to any ill wills or anything like that. It was an amicable end. I think their final performance is supposed to be, in June? Is that right, Les?
I was thinking it was March, but I could be wrong.
Well, there is a performance in March, but I thought I saw something that their final one was going to be in June, and I think the lead singer is moving, or something like that. But yeah,
I believe so.
But still, you have a chance to check out the music they have. You know, we've got links. We'll have links in the show notes. You go to our website, www.thefellowshipofgeeks.net. Click on the podcast tab, and there's their logo. You click on that. That'll take you to their page and check out their music. But yeah, I was sad to hear about that, and I definitely need to go check them out before it's too late. Also want to shout out to Potter and Family. hashtag Podern Family, who is celebrating their 1-year anniversary this month. Happy anniversary, guys.
Yay, happy anniversary.
Woohoo! A great collection of podcasts and podcasters that are on Twitter who are spreading the word not only of the Fellowship, but of other podcasts. If you're looking for a show, just go to Twitter and do a search, hashtag Podern Family. That's all one word, of course. And any show that you can think of, it's there. And check them out and have a blast. Any particular shout-outs, any shows we want to shout out this week, Mikey?
Actually, yeah, I'm gonna do something crazy. I'm gonna shout out a comics podcast.
Woohoo!
Which you might think would sound like kind of a self-defeating thing, but not really, because there's always room for another comics podcast. And this one is called The Whatnots. This is a couple of guys, Kyle and Paul, and they don't just talk about comics. They talk about all kinds of stuff. They talk about movies. They talk about manga. They will just pick a book. A lot of times they'll take like a single art collection, like a trade, or like, for example, the current episode of their show, they're talking about the movie Clerks. And they'll just talk about it for an hour and just kind of do a deeper dive than we usually do on stuff. They talk about stuff for a while and get into some serious detail on it. And they're a lot of fun. They're clearly good friends, and they enjoy a lot of the same things, and it comes across. And it's definitely worth checking out after you've listened to our show.
Yep. Cool.
That is nice.
So shout out to them. And of course, shout out to you, dear listeners. Thank you for downloading this episode and previous episodes. Thank you for listening. I hope you had a great time. Please let us know. Any kind of feedback, any kind of questions, any suggestions is always welcome. There's several ways you can.
Love that stuff.
Yep. There are several ways you can go about that. You can go to our website. Once again, it's www.thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, and click on our About Us tab, and there's a contact form that you can reach there. You can always email us. Email at thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can contact us through social media. We are on Facebook, The Fellowship of the Geeks, and we are also on Twitter, at Fellowship Geeks. Feel free to give us a follow and let us know what you think about the show and the website and us, and if you have any other comments, please let us know. Mikey has his own Twitter account. It's at Mikey Geek. I have one as well, at TomTCGeek. And feel free to follow us and let us know that you heard about us through the website or the podcast, and we would say, hey, thank you for following. Appreciate it. And of course, wherever you download us, wherever you get the episodes, whether it's through iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or if you listen to us on our YouTube channel, please feel free to rate us, whether it's a stars or thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever. Please, that would be much appreciated. And if you have a couple extra minutes, write a review. Just let others know what you think about our show. That would be much appreciated. Anything else? Did I forget anything?
No, I think you covered it all. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Once again, I don't think we've done it this episode, but happy holidays. Merry Christmas. And next week will be our year-end special. This ought to be fun, I think. There's been some good things this year, but there's been bad some things. But hey, that's every year. So let's look at the good things. Let's go back and relive some of the great memories of 2016. So it should be a blast. So hopefully you will tune in and download and join us for that episode. Until next time, read more comics, and support your local stores. We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,